Are you ready to stop lying to yourself about why your life hasn't changed yet? Because here's the truth most people can't handle. 2026 is not going to save you. Time doesn't reward hope. The calendar doesn't care about your dreams. The year will only give back what you're willing to bleed for. And if you're not willing to suffer, you don't deserve a different life. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants respect. Everyone wants money, strength, confidence, freedom, but almost nobody wants the process that creates those things. They want the result without the grind, the reward without the sacrifice. That fantasy is why most people stay stuck forever. Pain is not the enemy. Comfort is. Comfort is what keeps you weak, slow, and distracted. Comfort is scrolling when you should be studying. Comfort is sleeping in when you should be training. Comfort is quitting when things get hard and calling it self-care. Winners don't avoid pain, they choose it. Think about it. Every powerful transformation in history came from pressure. Diamonds are formed under force. Steel is hardened by fire. Human beings are no different. If your life feels easy right now, that's not a blessing. That's a warning. Read books like Atomic Habits, and you'll see it clearly. Your future isn't built in big moments. It's built in boring, painful, repeated actions. Doing what you said you'd do long after the feeling is gone. Discipline is not loud. It's quiet. It's lonely. And it works. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. If your habits are weak, your future will be weak. No motivation video can fix that. Only action can. Most people spend their lives negotiating with their own potential. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll try again next month. And years pass. Opportunities die. Regret grows heavy. That's the real suffering most people never talk about. The pain of knowing you could have been more. If you're going to suffer anyway, choose the right kind. Suffer in the gym so your body doesn't betray you later. Suffer while learning so ignorance doesn't control you forever. Suffer while building so poverty never owns you. Temporary pain or permanent regret. You don't escape suffering. You just choose its direction. Relentless people understand something simple. Motivation is unreliable, but standards are not. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, is this who I said I am? That's how identities are built. That's how weak men become dangerous and average lives become legendary. 2026 can be your year. Not because you hope, not because you pray, but because you decide that no matter how hard it gets, you will not quit. You will not negotiate with weakness. You will not run back to comfort. Suffer now. Build now, become now. And one day soon, people will call you lucky, never knowing the price you paid. Suffering is the price of transformation. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling comfort, not truth. Look at your life honestly and ask yourself where you are. Still weak, still behind, still frustrated. That didn't happen because you suffered too much. It happened because you avoided the right kind of pain. You chose ease over effort, distraction over discipline, excuses over responsibility. Transformation has never been gentle. It has never been polite. It demands something from you, and that something is discomfort. Most people misunderstand suffering. They think it means misery, chaos, or losing control. Real suffering is controlled. It's deliberate. It's waking up early when your body wants more sleep. It's pushing one more rep when your muscles are burning. It's staying focused while everyone else is partying. It's saying no to short-term pleasure because you respect your future more than your feelings. That kind of suffering doesn't destroy you. It builds you. Every powerful person you admire paid this price, not once, but daily. Read books like Can't Hurt Me, and you'll see the pattern clearly. Growth happens when you step directly into resistance instead of running from it. Your mind wants safety. Your ego wants comfort. But your potential lives on the other side of strain. If you never feel stretched, challenged, or tested, you are not growing. You are rotting slowly in a familiar place. Here's the brutal part most people ignore. You will suffer either way. You will suffer from discipline, or you will suffer from regret. You will suffer from pushing yourself, or you will suffer from watching others live the life you were capable of living. The difference is that one kind of suffering has an expiration date, and the other lasts forever. When you choose suffering with purpose, something changes inside you. You stop complaining. You stop blaming. You stop waiting to be saved. You begin to respect yourself. And self-respect is dangerous because once you have it, you refuse to live small. You refuse to tolerate weakness in your habits, your body, your mindset. Transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly, invisibly, while nobody is watching. One hard workout, one focused hour, one disciplined choice stacked on top of another, day after day. At first it feels pointless, then it feels hard, and suddenly, one day, it feels inevitable. If you want 2026 to be different, stop asking for an easier path and start becoming stronger. Choose the pain that upgrades you. Choose the struggle that sharpens you. Because the moment you accept that suffering is the price of becoming someone greater, you stop fearing it. And that is the exact moment you begin to win. Comfort is the silent killer of potential because it feels safe while it slowly destroys ambition. Comfort tells you that you deserve rest before you've earned progress, that tomorrow is a better time than now, that staying the same is Psalm. How safer than becoming more. That voice is not your friend. It is the reason average lives stay average. Pressure, on the other hand, is honest. Pressure doesn't lie to you. It shows you exactly who you are and exactly what you lack. Every winner you admire was forged under pressure, not when things were easy, but when quitting felt reasonable. Pressure exposes weakness, and most people run from it because seeing your flaws hurts the ego. But that pain is information. It tells you where to work, where to push, where to grow. Without pressure, you never discover what you're capable of because comfort never demands anything from you. Think about how people live today. Everything is designed to reduce effort. Food comes instantly. Entertainment never ends. Discomfort is treated like a problem instead of a signal. And as life gets easier, people get softer. Not because they're lazy by nature, but because they've never been forced to harden themselves. Pressure is no longer imposed by life, so it must be chosen intentionally. When pressure enters your life, everything changes. Your excuses disappear. Your priorities become clear. You stop wasting energy on nonsense. Pressure forces focus. It forces discipline. It forces growth. That's why hard environments produce strong individuals, and easy environments produce fragile ones. You don't become powerful by being protected. You become powerful by being tested. Read books like The Obstacle is the Way, and you'll understand this principle deeply. Resistance is not blocking the path. Resistance is the path. The weight you lift makes you stronger. The challenge you face sharpens your mind. The struggle you endure builds confidence that no motivational quote ever could. Pressure turns effort into identity. Most people say they want success, but what they really want is success without tension. They want progress without pressure. That fantasy collapses the moment life gets serious. Winners accept pressure as part of the deal. They don't ask why it's hard. They ask how hard they're willing to push. That mindset alone separates the relentless from the replaceable. Pressure also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not special, that results must be earned, that the world does not adjust to your feelings. And paradoxically, that truth is freeing. Once you stop expecting ease, you stop being disappointed. You become resilient. You become dangerous in the best possible way. If your life feels stuck, ask yourself where you've eliminated pressure instead of embracing it, where you chose convenience over challenge, where you stayed comfortable instead of stepping forward. Because the moment you reintroduce pressure into your routine, your standards rise, your discipline tightens, and your average life starts to crack under the weight of a stronger version of you that is waiting to be forged under conditions that demand more from you than comfort ever could, while you continue to choose difficulty over ease, pressure over protection, and growth over the illusion of safety that keeps most people exactly where they are. Discipline is the difference between people who talk and people who win. Because motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Motivation shows up when things are exciting, when the goal feels close, when the energy is high. Discipline shows up when none of that is there, when you retired, bored, frustrated, and questioning yourself. That's when real progress is made, and that's why so few people ever experience it. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for confidence, for inspiration, for the perfect moment. That moment never comes. Discipline doesn't wait. Discipline moves first and lets confidence catch up later. It's doing the work without applause, without certainty, without emotional reward. And that's why it builds something far more powerful than motivation ever could, trust in yourself. When you keep promises to yourself, even small ones, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who executes. Read books like The War of Art, and you'll see this truth clearly. Resistance is always there, but professionals work through it while amateurs negotiate with it. Discipline turns you into a professional at your own life. Discipline is boring, repetitive, and often lonely. There's no drama in it, no excitement, just showing up again and again. Same workout, same focus, same standards. That's why the crowd avoids it. People want intensity without consistency, passion without structure, success without routine. Discipline asks for structure first and rewards you later. Here's what most people don't understand. Discipline actually creates freedom. The disciplined body has energy. The disciplined mind has clarity. The disciplined bank account has options. Chaos feels free in the moment, but it traps you long term. Discipline feels restrictive at first, but it unlocks a life most people never touch. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you strengthen something. NG inside you. You become harder to distract, harder to manipulate, harder to break. You stop being controlled by moods, opinions, and circumstances. You move based on principle, not emotion. That is real power. There will be days when motivation disappears completely, days when quitting feels logical, days when no one would blame you for stopping. Discipline doesn't care about those days. Discipline treats them the same as every other day. That's why results compound. That's why disciplined people seem unstoppable over time. Look closely at anyone who dominates their field. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the most consistent. You'll always find discipline at the core. Quiet mornings, non-negotiable standards, ruthless routines. Not because they love the grind, but because they love the results that only the grind can produce if you want 2026 to be different. Stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Build it when it's uncomfortable. Build it when it's inconvenient. Build it when no one is watching. Because once discipline becomes who you are, not something you try to do, your actions will align automatically, your progress will become predictable, and your life will begin to move in one clear direction where excuses lose their power and results become unavoidable through the simple act of doing what must be done long after the desire to do it has faded completely. Your habits are voting every single day for the person you are becoming. And most people never realize the election is even happening. They think life changes through big decisions, dramatic moments, or sudden breakthroughs, but the truth is far less exciting and far more powerful. Life and just quietly, through small actions repeated so often they become automatic. What you do when no one is watching matters more than what you say you want. Intentions feel good, but they don't build anything. Everyone intends to be better. Everyone intends to work harder, get fitter, make more money, stay focused. Intentions are free. Habits are expensive. Habits cost effort, consistency, and patience. And that's why most people never build the right ones. They confuse wanting with doing, and time exposes that lie. Look closely at your daily routine, not your goals, not your dreams, but your actual behavior. That is your future in its early form. If you read, train, learn, and execute daily, your life will improve even if you doubt yourself. If you scroll, delay, overeat, and procrastinate daily, your life will decline even if you stay positive. Reality doesn't negotiate with optimism. It responds to patterns. Books like Atomic Habits explain this perfectly. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. A weak system produces weak outcomes no matter how strong the desire. A strong system creates progress even on low energy days. Habits remove decision-making from the equation. You don't ask yourself if you should do the work. You just do it because that's who you've trained yourself to be. The dangerous part about bad habits is that they rarely feel destructive in the moment. Skipping one workout feels harmless. Wasting 1 hour feels insignificant. Making one excuse feels justified. But habits compound silently. What feels small today becomes heavy tomorrow. And one day you wake up living a life you didn't consciously choose, built brick, by actions you didn't think mattered. Good habits work the same way, just in the opposite direction. They don't need intensity. They need consistency. You don't need to be extreme, you need to be reliable. One disciplined hour a day beats occasional bursts of motivation every time. Over months and years, that reliability separates winners from everyone else. Your habits also shape your identity. When you repeatedly act in a certain way, your brain updates its self-image. You stop forcing discipline and start embodying it. You don't try to be focused, you are focused. You don't try to be strong, you are strong. That identity shift is when effort becomes lighter and progress accelerates. If you want 2026 to be different, stop waiting for a massive change and start auditing your daily behavior. Change what you do consistently, and your life will follow whether you feel ready or not. Because the future doesn't respond to promises, it responds to patterns repeated long enough to become permanent. Excuses are comforting lies we tell ourselves to protect our ego, but they quietly steal our future while we're busy justifying the present. Every excuse sounds reasonable in the moment. You're tired, you're busy, the timing isn't right, other people had it easier. None of those explanations feel weak when you say them out loud, but together they form a cage that keeps you exactly where you are. The most dangerous thing about excuses is that they remove responsibility. And the moment responsibility disappears, so does power. If it's not your fault, then it's not in your control. That belief might feel relieving, but it guarantees stagnation. Powerful people accept blame Eve when it's uncomfortable, because they understand that ownership is the only place from which change can happen. Everyone faces obstacles. Everyone deals with fear, doubt, setbacks, and unfairness. The difference is not the problem, it's the response. Some people turn difficulty into fuel, others turn it into a story about why they couldn't succeed. Both feel real, only one produces results. Life doesn't reward the best explanations, it rewards the best execution. Books like Extreme Ownership highlight this truth clearly. When you take full responsibility for your outcomes, you regain control over your direction. No more waiting, no more hoping someone else fixes it, no more blaming circumstances, just action, adjustment, and forward movement. That mindset alone separates leaders from spectators. Excuses also weaken you internally. Every time you let yourself off the hook, your standards drop slightly. You might not notice it today, but over time, those lowered standards shape your identity. You become someone who quits when it's uncomfortable, who negotiates when it's hard, who settles when it's inconvenient. That identity is far more damaging than any external failure. The truth is harsh but freeing. Nobody is coming to save you. And once you accept that, you stop wasting energy on complaints and start investing it in solutions. You stop asking why life is hard and start asking what you're going to do about it. That shift turns frustration into focus and anger into action. Excuses feel good now, but they cost you later. They cost you confidence, self-respect, and momentum. Discipline, on the other hand, feels heavy now, but pays you back with interest. Every time you ooze action over excuse, you build proof that you can be trusted with bigger challenges. If you want 2026 to be different, stop rehearsing reasons and start producing results. Drop the stories that protect your comfort and pick up the responsibility that builds your future. Because the moment you stop excusing your weakness is the moment you give your stronger self permission to take control and move forward without apology or delay. Choosing pain with purpose is the line that separates people who change their lives from people who keep waiting for permission. Random pain is wasted energy. Complaining, stress, chaos, and self-inflicted drama don't make you stronger. Purposeful pain does. Purposeful pain is when you know exactly why you're suffering and you accept it because you understand what it's building inside you. Most people already suffer every day, but they suffer without direction. They suffer from anxiety, from confusion, from lack of money, from poor health, from low self-respect. That pain produces nothing because it's passive. It's endured, not chosen. When you choose pain with purpose, you flip the script. You decide that discomfort will serve you instead of control you. Purpose gives pain meaning. When you wake up early to train, it hurts, but it's clear. When you study while others relax, it's uncomfortable, but it's focused. When you stay disciplined while distractions are everywhere, it's hard, but it's intentional. That clarity makes pain tolerable, even empowering, because you're no longer suffering for nothing. Read books like Man's Search for Meaning and you'll understand this deeply. Humans can endure almost any hardship when they understand the oye, sun behind it. Pain without meaning breaks people. Pain with meaning builds monsters in the best sense of the word. It creates resilience, certainty, and an unshakable sense of direction. Choosing pain with purpose also sharpens your standards. You stop doing things that don't move you forward because you respect the cost of your effort. You become selective with your time, your energy, and your focus. You don't waste pain on things that don't matter. That alone puts you ahead of most people who exhaust themselves without progressing. This choice also removes fear. When you willingly walk into discomfort, fear loses its leverage. You're no longer afraid of hard work, rejection, or failure because you've already accepted suffering as part of the process. That makes you calm under pressure. Clear in chaos, dangerous in competition. Purposeful pain compounds. One hard day doesn't change your life, but thousands of intentional hard days reshape who you are. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. Your presence changes. People can feel it. Not because you talk about it, but because it's written into how you move and decide. 2026 will test you whether you like it or not. The difference is whether you let that pain drift aimlessly or you harness it like a weapon. When pain has direction, it stops being a burden and starts becoming proof that you are actively becoming someone stronger than you were yesterday. This is not about suffering endlessly. It's about suffering intelligently, knowing when to push, when to endure, and when to sharpen yourself instead of escaping. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary lives over time. If you want 2026 to be your year, stop avoiding discomfort and start choosing the kind of pain that upgrades you. Because the moment you give your suffering a purpose is the moment it stops controlling you and starts carrying you toward the life you said you wanted. 2026 will not hand you success. It will not bend to your comfort or reward your excuses. It will only give back what you are willing to give. Your effort, your pain, your discipline, your relentless refusal to quit. The choice is yours. Endure purposeless suffering and stay where you are, or embrace the hard, deliberate struggle that transforms weakness into strength, habits into power, and dreams into reality. This year can be yours, but only if you are willing to suffer, to fight, and to rise stronger every single day. The question isn't whether 2026 will be your year. It's whether you are willing to pay the price to make it so.